Hello, travel enthusiasts. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Christina,
And I'm Brian.
and this is The Ordinary Vacationer. Recently, Brian and I took a Caribbean cruise which left from Martinique. So we went there a couple of days before and stayed a day after. One thing that is really important to mention about this island is it's French. So all things about that are French. The language, menus, the currency, which they use euros. So we highly recommend that you bring euros with you. Keep in mind that you can still use your card. A lot of times it'll just do the conversion and everything for you. But another important thing to mention too is that there is no Uber or ride share. So typically you are going to have to take a taxi. One thing you'll find with the taxis is that most of them do speak French. So you may have some trouble communicating with them during your ride. So what we found was helpful was, maybe take a screenshot of the hotel or the place that you're going, just show them a picture of it. You can usually make do in the country for the most part. So um, there's not a lot of familiar favorites as far as restaurant goes. So we really struggled because we don't particularly love French Creole food, which is mainly what they have there. So we did eat a lot at McDonald's, which was close. That at least we could find something that we knew we liked. So just keep that in mind when going to Martinique.
So one of the things that we did notice about Martinique is that their flights are very infrequent between Martinique and the United States. We only found a handful a week, which really restricted when we could go and all of that, which also kind of led to why we came to Martinique a few days before the cruise. It is true, though, that because it's a French island, there are frequent flights between Europe and Martinique. I think we actually noticed a daily flight between Paris and Martinique. The reason that we chose Simon Hotel was that it is centrally located. It's right in the city, right next to the cruise ports.
Yeah, it's had pretty good reviews overall, so that definitely influenced our choice there. So
Yeah, it did. And, the hotel was actually fairly nice. It was very clean. The staff was fantastic. You are right in the heart of the city and heart of the kind of the more touristy area as well. I've noticed, which is kind of a positive because there are restaurants in the area. There is shopping. The one major issue for me personally, though, was their definition of air conditioning is a lot different than what we use here in the states. Um, it was very warm. We did ask them for a fan, and they did get us that, which definitely made it tolerable, I would say.
yeah, the staff was very friendly. They anytime we had a request, it seemed like it was meant, and they do speak English fluently, so the communication at the front desk was never an issue.
Yeah, and they actually help as well. If you need a taxi or something like that, they'll help you schedule your taxi to get to the cruise port or go around town or any dinner recommendations, that sort of stuff.
So the first day on Martinique, we were just really trying to get the lay of the land. We got in like around mid-afternoon, and we just kind of, walked around the town, looked at, shopping, restaurants, where were we going to eat, those kind of things. But the second day, we decided to embark on an all-day excursion with a company called Martinique Best Secrets. And I found this local company on Viator, and it was very reasonably priced. I don't remember exactly what the price was, but I remember it was very affordable. The tour guide was someone who is local. He has a big air conditioned van. He can usually take up to 6 to 8 people, which usually includes anywhere from 2 to 4 couples. The couple that we were with happened to speak French, but that's okay because he was bilingual. So he did a really good job throughout the trip, kind of going back and forth between French and English. So we both knew what was going on. So on this day long excursion, we went to multiple places. So the first place was the Church of the Sacred Heart of Balata. So it was a really pretty church where you could tour the inside, take some pictures, got to see some of the, gardens around there and everything like that. It was very pretty. So it was a pretty brief stop, maybe like 15 minutes, 15 20 minutes or so. So the next place that we visited was the Pitons du Carbe. These pitons were just beautiful mountains. We did a little bit of hiking to get up so we could get a good view of them. That was a really good stop. I believe we were maybe stopped for like again like maybe 15 20 minutes or so. This tour guide really kind of kept things
Yeah.
going, which was nice, which is kind of more our speed. So if you're looking for something super slow, this may not be the tour for you. But
Yeah, he kept things interesting. A lot of times, I think tour guides get overly detailed. You're not going to get that with this guy. He'll continue to move really fast and keep it interesting. So,
yes, yeah, it's enough time that you can stop and kind of take in the scenery and take pictures and that, but he really wants to kind of keep it moving along. So moving along with that, our next stop was to some waterfalls, which were beautiful. Um, Now getting down was a pretty steep
yeah, it
climb.
was.
So definitely people that are mobility impaired, this, may be a stop that you want to just take a picture and you don't want to like navigate down to the falls. But for those of you that do okay for the most part mobility wise, I don't think you'll have any problem. So
Yeah, absolutely. The next stop on the tour, I'm unlike Christina. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce this. I'm just going to put a link here at the bottom. But it was a botanical garden that we went to. The botanical garden itself was absolutely gorgeous. They had a very wide variety of plants and different sort of areas of the park that focused on plants that were used in food or anything like that. Absolutely gorgeous. It was also very nice that our tour guide had a personal relationship with the people that ran the botanical gardens, which meant he knew a lot about the plants. So he actually took us around himself. We didn't have like a separate tour guide from the botanical garden. It was actually him. And honestly, I would put his knowledge up against anybody that actually worked there. He
mhm.
knew quite a bit. But yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the trip for me in particular. I really enjoyed the botanical garden. After that, we went to a rum distillery, which, if you've been to any of the Caribbean islands, they love their rum. They're very, very proud of their rum. And rightfully so. The rum is very good in pretty much any Caribbean island. The grounds itself were gorgeous. It was off in the distance. You had the ocean, and you could see it over the sugarcane fields. It was very pretty. They had a lot of older, like plantation style homes and things like that on site, which was very cool to kind of walk around.
So I'd like to take a minute and talk about the cruise embarkation day. So there's actually two cruise ports. The one that's closest to the hotel that we stayed at, the Simon Hotel, is actually one where you don't typically get on the cruise ships there, right?
Yeah, there's no security. There's no way to handle baggage, that sort of stuff. It's simply just a place where cruise lines will come in during the day, spend the day, and then they head out after that.
And there's a lot of like ferries that leave from there as well, like the inter island ones that go over to St. Lucia and that. But the cruise port that usually most of the bigger cruise ships, like the one we went on LC, I mean, was probably about 5 minutes away from the hotel. So while that seems like you could walk there with your luggage, keep in mind it's very hot, and when you're dragging suitcases along with you, that can be quite the journey. So our recommendation would be is just get a taxi. It should be pretty cheap, maybe 15 20 bucks max with tip, to get over there and just make life easier on yourself. So I think by the end of this, we were ready to go. The hotel was hot again, and we were just ready to get back to the United States. So, which leads into the final day of being at the airport. So I don't know about you, but I thought the airport was, it was very
Yeah.
clean. It was easy to navigate. There were limited food options at this airport, but we did find a little like sub place that was pretty good. So I'd say overall it was nice for a small island airport.
Some of the other things too that we felt we should mention, just to clarify too, for Martinique overall, there's a lot of things we didn't do, and we do realize that. We didn't go to any of the resorts. We while we did go to one beach, we didn't visit a lot of them, which I know is a major draw to Martinique. So, that is something that if we ever go back, that would be something that we would check out. But that's kind of the ultimate question: is would we ever go back? Um,
Me, probably not.
yeah,
It wasn't my favorite. I've been to a lot of Caribbean islands before, and we kind of left it saying, meh. It was fine,
yeah.
but and maybe some of it was the language barrier, and the food options and that. So I'm sure that played a role in it.
Oh,
But
absolutely. Yeah, it definitely did for me as well. And I kind of share that same point of view. Now would I leave a cruise from there again? Like, just go there to get on a cruise ship? Yeah, probably. I think I would do that. But would I put it as a destination? Probably not. I think there might be some better options out there.
yeah, but you might feel differently. So just take that with a grain of salt. So
Mhm.
that's just our opinion. So, but want to thank everybody for tuning in for this episode focusing on Martinique, and stay tuned to our channel for more content coming at you soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.